55 and I don't want to be delayed. Okay. I will also record this meeting. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is to coordinate and make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to new products that we're going to be launching. And so as a result, what we want to do is, number one, just have a talk about the products themselves. I'm sure everyone by now, I haven't checked, but I'm sure everyone by now has watched the training that Ashford did do. Isley, your mic is feeding back. Please keep mute. Thank you. Okay, so I'm sure everyone by now has gone through the material that Ashford created for us and is clear about the process. But just so that there's no avoidance of doubt, we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page, that we answer any questions, because obviously as the team, the sales team and the billing team, you will be the first port of call when clients ask you about the products. So I think let's take this opportunity as an opportunity to have any clarifying questions and to make sure that we're all on the same page in regard to the new Xplorer products. Okay, so maybe let us just start by just maybe talking about what are the Xplorer products and why did we decide to introduce the Xplorer products into the fold. As I'm sure you will have noticed, most of the mobile network operators, as well as some of the internet access providers, have introduced USD-based products into their product mix. These are products that you can only purchase in US dollars. You'll usually find that these products are probably have a higher value than the other products that are purchasable in excuse me, that are purchasable in ZWL. So this is the first thing, is that these products probably have more value than the other products that are purchasable in ZWL. So it's a way, I think, of most network operators trying to preserve value because, as you know, the RTGS or the ZWL every month is declining. And so if you can introduce products that are stable in a stable currency and clients are maybe paying for them in a stable currency, you will find that maybe you can stabilize your product, your revenue streams. So that is the reason behind the Xplorer products. So the way that you'll find that the Xplorer products have been set up is that they're almost, not quite, but they're almost double in terms of data value than the other products. So for example, what we've done is we've taken like a Velocity 42 gig and seen what is that in US dollars, and then introduced a product that is almost double that value in US dollars in order to try to make it comparable and hopefully to make it more attractive for the client to upgrade from 42 gig to 80 gig. You'll find that for example, if you can see my screen, the 42 gig, the upgrade path for the 42 gig is anything higher than 42 gig, which in this case, all the Xplorer products start, the minimum Xplorer product starts at 80 gig. So the Xplorer 80G, which is almost the same pricing as the Velocity 42G in ZWL, is 80 gig, which is almost double the data value of the 42 gig. And I think if you watch the video that Ashford sent, you will notice that clients can only upgrade the path that they've got is only an upgrade path from where they are upwards. They cannot, for example, downgrade to an Explorer product. That's very, very, very important. The only way is up. They can either match the value that they're on right now on an Explorer product, or they can upgrade. They can only upgrade, they cannot downgrade. So that's very, very critically important. So as you will see, for example, if we go to the next one, the 70 gig, for example, the only upgrade path on a 70 gig product, because the 70 gig product is comparable to at the moment, I believe it's comparable to the 135 gig, which is almost double the 70 gig in terms of pricing. So you can only go from a 70 gig to an Explorer 135 or upwards, or an Explorer 175 or 250, but you cannot go downwards to an Explorer 105 or an Explorer 80G. Are there any questions in terms of the fashioning of the products? Any questions in terms of the actual design of the products and how they are designed to work?
I think on my end it's clear. What I wanted to know is when a customer is on 135G and maybe they need to go down now back to the 80, will that be possible or is not?
So you're saying they came from an 80G,
Yes,
they upgraded
straight
to
to
a
135.
135,
Yes,
and then they want to go back to an 80, not an 80G.
yes.
Because remember, oh, I see. So 80, no, but they won't have come from an 80G. They would have come from a velocity something, a velocity 70G.
Okay, all right. So if they come from velocity 70G and they go to an 80,
Yes.
when they
And
want
they
to
go back.
upgrade from that 80 is possible as well, is it?
Sorry, please rephrase your question because I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Say
Okay,
again.
okay. Yes, I'm saying someone upgrades maybe this month to an 80
So, okay,
gig.
say where did they come from? Like what package were they on?
Okay, let's say they upgrade from 42, velocity 42,
Yes.
they go to 80.
They'd go to
Uh,
what 80? Explorer 80.
yeah, to explore 80.
Yes.
Maybe it's not enough for them. They then upgrade again to 135.
Okay. To
Yes.
Explorer 135. Okay, you're gonna need to give me the
Oh,
link
okay,
because
okay.
remember now we've got Velocity and we've got Explorer.
Oh, all right,
Okay,
all right.
all right. So you're saying so your first question is if they go from Velocity 42 gig to Explorer 80 gig, can they downgrade again?
Yes, can they downgrade again? Oh,
So they can only go back to the velocity. So the downgrade path for them, if they've come from a velocity to 42 gig, for example, is they can only go back to the same package, the same ZWL package. Is that one clear? So if they came from a velocity 42 gig and they went to the Explorer 80 gig, right, which is a similar value just in US dollars, but with higher data in it, they can only go back to the velocity 42 gig. They can only go back to the velocity 42 gig what? Package, subscription package. Hi, Abby, are you still there? Have I lost everyone? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Jimmy, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. I think we've lost Abby. All right, so that was the answer to the first question. Then her second question was, let's say they go from a Velocity 42 gig to an Explorer 80 gig, And then from the Explorer 80 gig, they then go to the Explorer 135 gig. Can they downgrade again to the Explorer 80 gig? Yes, they can. As long as that has been their transition path. Are there any further questions on the upgrade and downgrade paths? What they will not be able to do is go from, let's say, they were on a Velocity 70 gig, and then they go to an Explorer 135 gig, and then they decide they want to downgrade to an Explorer 105 gig. That won't be possible.
Sorry, Sister Me, our network dropped off. I didn't get the whole part.
Okay. I was saying, Abby, when you dropped off, they can, if they go from a Velocity 42 gig to an Explorer 80 gig, that's an upgrade, right? Well, it's not an upgrade. It's kind of, that's the movement that they can do, right?
Yes.
And then if they want to downgrade to a Velocity 42 gig from the Explorer 80 gig, they can, right?
Okay.
They can only go back to the ZWL package that they were on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it
Right?
does.
Number one. Then number two, your number two question was, if they go from Explorer 80G to Explorer 135G, right? So they've done two upgrades. They've gone from 42G to Velocity 42 to Explorer 80G. Then they've gone from Explorer 80G to Explorer 135G. They can do that. They can upgrade to an Explorer 135G, and they can come back to the Explorer 80G as long as that has been their upgrade path. What they will not be able to do is to go from an Explorer 135G to an Explorer 105G. That's not going to be possible because that has not been their what? Their upgrade path. During the year, they're not going to be able to do that.
Oh, okay.
During the 12 months,
Yes,
they're not going to be able to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So they can only go on, they can only go back to what has been on their upgrade path. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, right. Any other questions in terms of that? Go ahead, Slee.
Good morning, Jimmy. Good morning, team.
Morning.
What I wanted to know is if someone upgrades to Explorer, for how many months are they supposed to be on Explorer packages?
Okay, that's a good question. So the minute that they upgrade to Explorer, what the system actually does is it changes their subscription to Explorer. So now, basically, it's just like any other upgrade. You now have a new subscription, which is your Explorer subscription, which is what you're going to keep getting billed for. Does that make sense, Lee?
Yes, it does make sense. So now what I want to know is if they decide maybe next month or maybe they want to go back to their velocity packages, is it possible?
Yeah, that's the answer. That's the question that I've just answered for Abby, which is they can only go back to the package where they came from, the velocity package where they came from.
All right.
So it will not be possible, and let me repeat this again, it will not be possible for them to go from, so understand me very clearly, if they go from Velocity 42 gig to Explorer 80 gig, then to Explorer, let's say, okay, let's take another package. Let's say they go from Velocity 70 gig, and okay, are you with me? And so the equivalent packages that they can go to an Explorer is they can go to Velocity 70 gig, they can go to Explorer 135 gig and above. Can you see that they're not able to go from a 70 gig to a 105 gig? Can you see that? Right. So 105 is not within their consideration set as far as the Explorer products are concerned. The only product that they can go to is 135 and above.
Okay.
Because 135 is the equivalent of their ZWL payment and above. So if they now want to downgrade to, if they want to come back to the velocity packages, they can only go from Velocity 70G to Explorer 135 and above. If they want to downgrade, they can only downgrade back to Velocity 70G. They will not be able to downgrade to Explorer 105G. Is that clear?
Yes, it's very clear.
Okay.
And then lastly,
Mhm.
so this is for existing customers only.
So no, for example, if in fact, this is another point I wanted to come to. Thank you. That's a good question. Sales. We want to try to sell these packages to new clients as well. So a new client can start from wherever, right? So if as a new client they want to do Xplorer ATG, which is the minimum, or anywhere along the spectrum, a new client can opt for an Xplorer product right from the beginning. And in fact, we would want to encourage you that when you sell to new clients, please sell them the Xplorer products first, and then the Velocity products, emphasizing the value of the Xplorer products, which is that the value of the Xplorer products is double of the Velocity products for the same amount. Is that clear to everyone, that essentially the cost of the Xplorer ATG is the same, but it's just in US dollars, as the cost of the Velocity 42G?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
go ahead, Tawanda. Yeah, no, finish Slivers, so then Tawanda.
all right, I'm sorry, Tumi. I thought that was the last question. So I wanted to also find out with these Explorer packages, what are the line speeds that are located to these packages?
Okay, that's also a good question. So we will put on the, I need to double check that actually with the devs, what line speeds we can put on the packages, but we will put them onto the, they're not already there. Let me see, are they not already there? The line speeds, I think we might have put them already. Yeah. So they're already there on the package. Just check on the package. There's Xplorer, you said the 175, it's on a 5 Mbps. 135 is on a 5 Mbps. 105 is on a 5 Mbps. So it looks like most of them are standardized to a 5 Mbps, except for from 250 upwards, it's on a 10 Mbps. Yeah, so the line speeds are actually already there.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Tawanda.
So my question is, if someone is going to downgrade from an Explorer and yet it's the same value, but more data for them, why would they opt to downgrade? What are the perks that would make them want to downgrade, or what are we selling in terms of the upgrade?
Okay, so what we're selling in terms of the upgrade is for the same value. I think you missed it when I said it at the beginning. For the same value of same value. One value is in RTGS, the other one is in US dollars. But for the same dollar value, essentially, you're going to get double if you pay in US dollars. I explained at the beginning why these products, we're bringing them onto the market. We're following what other network operators have already done, which is they've created new packages that are paid for purely in US dollars. And those packages, the way they're incentivizing people to pick up those packages is by giving you more value for the same amount of essential dollar value or money. Okay, it's to incentivize people to pay in a more stable currency. Are you answered, Tawanda?
Yes, ma'am, 100%. Thank you.
So hence your question, coming back to your question, why would someone want to downgrade? Well, I don't know why someone would want to downgrade, because the incentive for them is, we're saying, for the same amount you're going to be paying, why don't you just pay in dollars and get double the value? So it's a way of trying to transition our customers across. That's what you're selling from a sales perspective and a marketing perspective. You're trying to transition your customers across from paying in ZWL into paying in US dollars. That's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get the more stable currency by incentivizing the clients, by giving a little bit more for less, for the same amount. Not a little, actually, it's double for the same amount. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, Nokutenda, go ahead. Nokutenda, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to ask, since it's now a WhatsApp system, are these packages now sort of pay as you go, or it's still the same system as before?
No, they're not pay as you go. So once the customer opts up, it's a subscription. So it what it does in the system is it creates a new subscription which they'll be billed going forward. Does that answer your question, Noktenda? It's not pay as you go.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Yes, Abby.
Okay, I wanted to ask on the payments. Since we are saying the customers will be paying through the app, for the new customers, we'll be sending them the promo message, or they
Yes,
can only
absolutely.
pay at the office.
Okay, so they can still pay at the office. They can still pay using any of the means that we've got available. The important thing with this product is it's a dollar product. So the easiest way for them to pay is through the app, because the app immediately allows them to pay via their EcoCash USD wallet without having to come to the office. However, if they want to come to the office and pay cash at the office, that's also fine. The important thing is it's a purely US dollar product. It can only be paid for in US dollars, either through Nostro or through the app or through cash. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Then on the upgrades, it can only be done through the WhatsApp, or be doing the same as the other, how we're upgrading the other products, creating.
So the WhatsApp is just a convenience thing. It's a convenient way of getting the message out. But if, for example, you are talking to a customer and you say to them, and you're collecting their bill, and you say, hey, you know that now we've got a new product called the Xplorer ATG, and it gives you double the value that you're getting right now for the same amount that you're paying, except you pay in US dollars. You can upgrade the client exactly as you're upgrading them for any other product or service. So the app is just a way of getting the message out to a mass number of customers without necessarily, to entice the customers by sending them something via app. But it's not the only way of upgrading the client. You can still upgrade the client just like we've been upgrading the client all along. Exactly. Does that answer your question, Abigail?
Yes, it's clear.
I'm taking down all these questions so that, again, we can make a video that helps to explain all these things or answer frequently asked questions so that, again, you can have a reference point on the e-learning. Any other questions about the new products? Any questions? All right. Yes, Dina, your last question, and Siva's your last question, because I need to jump out of this meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. So I wanted to ask, is it flexible to move from Explorer to Velocity packages? Or once you're an Explorer customer, you cannot move back to Velocity?
Okay, can someone answer the question for Dina? I think she joined late.
Oh, okay. So sorry about that, Dina. I'm sure you joined a bit late. So we're saying the customer can only have the option of the packages which they were on before. If they upgraded from a Velocity 42 gig, that's the only option they can go back to.
Okay, I'm going to share this recording for the benefit of those that joined late, so that you can make sure that you catch up on some of those issues. That question was already answered, Dina. So please, you can come back and listen to the recording or ask your colleagues. I'm sure they can explain. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I wanted to ask, how soon are these packages available?
Okay, we are in the process of now moving them over to the production system, i.e. Udu live. So we will notify you, but we needed to have these conversations before we start, because we don't want you now having questions coming up that are coming from clients and you don't know how to answer them. So it's got to be very clear. And one of the things we want to do is to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to test before we launch the products. So in the next stage it's going to be us, everyone in this room, testing the process of upgrading so that you know how to guide a customer if they're doing it via WhatsApp or if they're doing it via any other way. Yes, Abby?
Okay, on top-ups, are they Explore products also, or they are just the same, the ones we're
Yes,
using?
there will also be top-ups for Xplorer.
Okay.
And those will be also in USD. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. I need to close this meeting now because I've got another meeting to get into. I will share the recording with you all. In fact, I'm going to put it on the e-learning, and I'll notify, once it's on the e-learning, I'll notify you through your department heads. Thank you very much, everyone. If you missed anything, please make sure that you watch this so that you're very, very clear about the Xplorer products and anything else that comes with them. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, Jimmy. Bye.